Synthwave. Everyone knows what Synthwave is. They might not know the name, but everyone has seen an image like this. The typical grid floor with the sectioned sun. If you haven't noticed yet, I personally admire Synthwave. I mean, yeah, I use it everywhere. You just gotta look close. Whoa, wait. Alright. I have some explaining to do. Okay, so I originally made these visuals and the script whenever I still was active on the old channel. So this new channel, even though it still holds true, yeah, that's just some explanation why it has the old channel on there instead of new one, and I'm too lazy to put the new one in there, so whatever. Let's just continue on the video. There are some things that I need to explain about Synthwave. First things first, Synthwave is not Vaporwave. They're different, I swear. Many people confuse Synthwave with Vaporwave. This is because people just generally group them together in the same category. While Vaporwave and Synthwave can share certain things, there are still a considerable amount of differences that make Synthwave deserve its own category. There are many differences between the groups, but I'll only be going over just a couple. First, the color palette. I feel like this is the most noticeable thing out of the two. Vaporwave tends to have a lighter and pastel color palette, and Synthwave has a more neon and darker color palette. This is Vaporwave, and this is Synthwave. See the difference? Well, if you don't, then good for you. I don't know. Another type of difference is in the music that's related to each category. Synthwave uses more synth-type styles, while Vaporwave tends to sample from other songs and uses a more slow and chilled-out sound. Here is an example of Synthwave music. And here is an example of Vaporwave music. If you want to hear more about the difference between the two types of genres, then I shall link a good video in the description. If it isn't obvious by now, Synthwave is inspired by an 80s type aesthetic, you know, like VHS type stuff. This 80s aesthetic is getting quite popular actually, but it's more or less just girls putting VHS filters on their Snapchat. There's just something about this aesthetic that can make people feel a variety of feelings. Now, I don't feel like getting into psychology or any weird stuff like that, so I'm just going to move on. Now, I can't really explain why I like this genre so much, but there's just something about it that just seems really chill, you know? If anything, I blame the music, really. With many pieces that fit under this genre of music using chilled out synths and having just a general calm vibe to the whole thing. I've been using Synthwave music throughout this entire video, so hopefully you can get what I mean. Now, concerning the images of Synthwave, they just have a very iconic look to them. It's just something one can look at and feel good about. I believe the darker color palette that Synthwave uses helps aid this feeling. The darker colors can make someone feel calm and warm, but there are some exceptions to this. Many Synthwave pictures use the typical colors of magenta, orange, blue, and purple. These darker colors can convey a feeling of warmth and comfort. But if someone feels like doing it, a color palette can be used. This color palette is usually lighter compared to the usual darker colors. A good example of this is how people portray the setting sun. The sun usually has a pink to orange gradient, but sometimes it can be replaced by a purple to blue type gradient. This change can make a big difference to the whole vibe of the picture. But that difference isn't really a bad one. I actually really like this color tone to Synthwave. The usual staples of synthwave images consist of a grid floor, a setting sun, sometimes mountains, palm trees, and most of the time a car. The car is usually an old white car that gives off this kind of futuristic twang. Sometimes synthwave art can get away from the norm and go with something completely different. Another type of synthwave is depicting a futuristic-ish city, or at least that's what I've seen. Now, this may be pushing more towards the cyberpunk type deal, but some of these still stay true to synthwave. While synthwave can be considered an overrated thing to get into, I really think that it deserves the attention that it gets. I can see how one could be pulled into this aesthetic. With its welcoming community, good-looking art, and nice music, it really is an awesome hobby to get into. I hope that this could get you into synthwave and, you know, just kind of educate you more on it. And if not, then I hope you can appreciate the genre just a little bit more than you used to. If you like these retrospective type videos, then like the video and subscribe, and maybe I'll make more. Just kidding, I definitely will. Sorry if this video was a bit shorter than others. I just needed a video to get out, and I had this on the chopping block, so I decided, why not? Thank you for your time, see you later, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. You can go now.